Here is the answer to the Day 3 SAT prep question. What is the set of all solutions to this equation? This is simply saying solve this equation. With the types of answers that are given to us in the multiple choices, one way to solve this would be guess and check, right? Actually plug in the numbers given in the multiple choices to see which works. The other way to solve it is algebraically, and that's what I'll do here. So over on the side, I'm going to rewrite that equation. Equation has a square root symbol. And in algebra class, you learned that to solve an equation that involves a square root, you square both sides. Squaring the square root outputs the expression that was inside the square root symbol. On the right side, squaring the negative results in a positive, and squaring the x is x squared. This is a quadratic equation. Quadratic equations can often be solved by putting them in standard form, getting it to be equal to 0. I can subtract the x and subtract the 2 to cause them to move to the other side with the x squared, and that'll make a 0 on one side of the equals. The result will be x squared minus x minus 2 is equal to 0. Often, quadratic equations in standard form can be factored. And that is the case here. That is a factorable trinomial. X times x is where that first x squared comes from. Negative 2 and positive 1 is where that minus 2 comes from. And the outer and inner products from FOIL result in the negative 1x that's in the middle. Now that we have factored form, we can use the zero product property to get the answers. The first factor could be equal to 0, or the second factor could be equal to 0. That makes x equals 2. That makes x equals negative 1. Our algebraic processes could have created what are called extraneous solutions, numbers that don't actually work when they're plugged into the equation. So even though it looks like choice A is correct, we have to plug these numbers in to see if they really work. So you can see that going through all of this algebra on the SAT really didn't do anything for us. We would have been better off just doing guess and check from the multiple choices right from the beginning. Let's try the answer negative 1 and see what happens. Let's plug in negative 1 on the left side of the equation and put in negative 1 on the right side of the equation and determine, are those really equal to each other? The square root of 1 makes 1, and over on this side, the opposite of negative 1 is also 1. So using negative 1 for x works. Let's try 2. Plug in 2 for x on the left side of the equation and on the right side and figure out, are those really equal to each other? 2 plus 2 is 4, and the square root of 4 is 2. 2 is not equal to negative 2. So even though our algebraic techniques using squaring both sides and factoring gives us an answer of 2, it doesn't actually work. Only the negative 1 works. So the answer to the question is choice B, not choice A.